recent post alleging blatant and evident manipulation of the XRP price is going viral. I want to dissect that post in this video and address a topic that has been hotly debated lately. May Chainlink eventually take the role of XRP? Many people are contacting Swift to inquire as to whether Swift will no longer require an asset like XRP in light of the recent news reports about their collaborations with Chainlink. I want to dissect that in this video. Thus, be sure to stay for the entire event. As always, this channel really appreciates your support. We sincerely appreciate everyone who takes the time to subscribe to the channel and like these films. I truly benefit greatly from these two little things. Additionally, if you're new to buying XRP, be sure to look at my exchange, which is mentioned in the video's description. Having said that, let's get started, and I hope you all find the content enjoyable, since there is a lot of discussion about the Chainlink news at the moment, especially due to a popular post from the community. I want to start by discussing how XRP sought to replace Swift with 247 settlement. But Chainlink is essentially replacing them and doing everything much better. It's critical to recognize one crucial point at this point. First off, Swift isn't actually working on any actual production projects or integrated with any blockchain networks at this time. It's also critical to acknowledge that nobody is using XRP in the same manner as Ripple. In reality, Chainlink is tying together data from each of these various institutions. The Chainlink network accomplishes this. Isn't it an Oracle network? Data is connected via it. However, having a neutral counterpartyless asset to support that settlement is very distinct from data, which is also very different from settlement. Although the two products are completely distinct, this does not imply that they cannot be utilized simultaneously. Actually, Chainlink's Oracle network is used by the XRP ledger to import data. However, linking data isn't the core innovation of blockchain. In reality, it is establishing a decentralized, counterpartyless platform that allows several counterparties to settle without having to have faith in one another. This is the primary invention that blockchain technology has introduced to the world. Furthermore, XRP is a decentralized, neutral, counterpartyless asset, which is its primary novelty. The link token is ultimately just another issued token. It was produced and distributed by a centralized organization. Something like XRP, which is totally decentralized and has no counterparty, is entirely different from this. Each token carries a completely different level of risk because, for one, you must rely on a counterparty to ensure the token's issuance, scalability, security, and production, whereas XRP is merely a counterpartyless decentralized asset. The entire usefulness and long-term development of each of these items are now totally altered by these basic distinctions. In my opinion, both will be successful. However, the Chainlink network will never be able to handle billions of quadrillions of dollars worth of settlement globally when you're talking about a neutral decentralized Tier 1 platform that can extend indefinitely, since that's just not what it's looking to take on. With a Layer 1 protocol that is entirely open and neutral, as well as a counterpartyless asset that acts as liquidity, the protocol's engine and oil, it is entirely distinct from what the XRP ledger is accomplishing. Entirely distinct projects, entirely different goals, and essentially a great deal of squabbling over Swift and Swift's eventual collaborator. However, I believe that anyone with a broader understanding of this technology and how it will be developed would readily inform you that there will be numerous winners, various protocols, and numerous applications of this technology, all of which will have different locations. The most crucial lesson to learn from this, in my opinion, is that, in the end, the Chainlink token is not as essential to the Chainlink protocol as XRP is to the XRP ledger protocol. Therefore, if you're only discussing the value of the underlying coin, I believe that XRP's contribution to what Ripple is doing and to the XRP ledger is essential and a key component that makes everything work, and regardless of how well Chainlink's Oracle network develops, I simply don't see the same thing with the Chainlink token. Having said that, I want to quickly discuss something that demonstrates this, and that is the fact that this vet recently shared on X that what Ripple is actually doing is acquiring crucial infrastructure that these various applications are currently using to transfer value. The XRP ledger is being used by Ripple to replace the outdated classic and trunk settlement system. In fact, Whale, one of the largest stablecoin movers globally, was purchased by Ripple a few days ago. They handle nearly 10% of all steady business coin transactions. What do you know, too? Due to their existing integrations with SEPA, Fedwire, AC, and SWIFT, Ripple acquired this business. In reality, what Ripple is doing is entering and locating the rails that are in use, purchase and integrating them into the XRP ledger, such as Hidden Road, Medico, Rail, and other in-trunk payment systems that have already been accepted as sort of that next layer of settlement, and this, in my opinion, is just unmistakable evidence that Chainlink is not going to be the town's one-stop shop and is taking a very different approach than settlement. In the end, these participants are already connected to various components of the newly constructed infrastructure, such as the secret road and rail, as they must complete final settlement and prefer to employ neutral decentralized digital assets on Layer 1 platforms that has built-in security and scalability that none of these other things can provide. Since cryptocurrency is the quickest, least expensive, and most straightforward method of settling these transactions globally, Ripple is integrating it into the XRP ledger. Therefore, just know that this isn't how the real world operates when individuals write that all these disparate things will operate through a single protocol. And no one is more ahead of the curve than Ripple with the XRP ledger. If anyone has been 10 years ahead of the game in figuring out what these banks want to achieve, what these institutions are driving towards, and what this next generation settlement platform will look like, according to them, the XRP ledger serves as a decentralized clearinghouse for all global transactions. And Ethereum is the only true competitor I can think of for something similar. Furthermore, I don't believe I need to persuade many of you to switch from the XRP ledger to Ethereum. Ethereum, in my opinion, made a number of poor choices in its early years that will make it extremely difficult for it to compete on the same level as XRP and Ripple. However, since this piece is currently going viral, I want to get into some of the discussion on XRP price manipulation. This post was published earlier today. It has already received 250,000 views, and they are essentially demonstrating that there is price manipulation occurring with XRP, because it appears that they observe numerous large dollar movements of XRP between exchanges, which is ODL's goal. Additionally, many people choose to do with XRP, moving it from one exchange to another, or from a cold wallet to an exchange, and there are numerous theories as to why some of these movements may be caused by people suppressing or fabricating volume for Forex XRP. I'll tell you now, when you truly think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Some of the world's most intelligent individuals analyze data on the blockchain, a public decentralized impartial record. Nobody will attempt to manipulate these chains with malevolent manipulating data movements or fake volume without knowing that these things will eventually be discovered. The majority of the transactions that this individual emphasizes aren't really that big. Despite the notion that Ripple is manipulating data and transferring big transactions, they spend roughly a few $100,000 merely to fabricate network activity. I think it's completely